Subscribe on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You remember when you were a little kid, Grayson, and you'd go to bed, go to sleep the night before your birthday, and you'd just be tingling with excitement and anticipation and impatience?
Sounds like going to bed on Christmas Eve, doesn't it?
Also that, I suppose. That's kind of what it feels like at this point for me, in the sense that I feel incredibly impatient. We're still 5 hours away from kickoff, Grayson. I feel impatient, and I feel exhausted, man. We have talked about this game from what feels like every single angle. Thousands and thousands of different storylines surrounding this football game for the last 2 weeks, and yet it is finally here. Game day has arrived in Norman, America. The latest home game on record at the University of Oklahoma, taking place this evening, December 19th, between the Sooners and the Alabama Crimson Tide. How you feeling 5 hours out, Grayson?
Well, I'm going to be in the stadium. I'll be in the stadium for it tonight, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see a
50 Cent?
I mean, that too. I mean, that would be dope. But no, man, when you finally kick this bad boy off, which, by the way, ESPN, please do not make this a thing where we kick off at 7:20. But when you finally get this kicked off and you see how the players, how long it takes them to feel each other out and get their legs underneath them and really start playing football, that's when all that nervousness is going to go away and you as a fan can settle in and start to see how this script is going to unfold for tonight. And I do think I think each team, I'll tell you this, Parker, each team has its own script that needs to happen for them to win. Alabama's got one, Oklahoma has got one, and it'll just be up to which team can execute and manipulate the script to favor themselves the most. And that's the team that's going to win the game because they have two unique paths to victory.
405-651-3439 is the text line if you want to tap in with us throughout the show, which is brought to you on this Friday by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. If you're looking for a new vehicle this holiday season, check out Dorsey Jones because GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and Dorsey Jones complements that with their personal outstanding service as well, including half-price oil changes on Saturdays. So go get your oil changed tomorrow morning, in either celebration or misery, depending on the outcome of the football game tonight. You can either get your oil changed in celebration, get your car ready for the road trip out to Pasadena. I know some of y'all crazies will be driving that. I'm still considering it. Or
I was about to say,
just get a jump start on off-season busy work, chores, tasks that need to be accomplished. Got to get the oil changed at some point, right? Dorsey Jones got you taken care of. Again, 405-651-3439 is the text line. Can I start out the show with a conspiracy theory, Mr. Singleton?
What you got?
And I'm not talking flat earther conspiracy theory like yesterday at Riverwind. We're not talking that level of conspiracy theory. But my question to you and to the general public is this. Are we sure Kalen DeBoer's not going to be the next head coach at the University of Michigan? Because let me tell you, it's been alarmingly quiet over the last week or so with regard to that coaching search. And when it is quiet for that amount of time at a place like Michigan, what that generally suggests is that something big is coming. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's Kalen DeBoer, but I do find it interesting that, for one thing, we have not seen terms of an extension finalized between Alabama and Kalen DeBoer. And two, we really haven't heard much of anything as to who the leader in the clubhouse is to be the Wolverines' next head coach. And I can't help but wonder, is the U of M waiting to see what happens tonight as much so as all of us in the Sooner State are? And as much so as all of the residents of the state of Alabama that are loyal to the Crimson Tide are? Do they have a vested interest in the outcome of this football game?
I said when this game first happened and the Michigan situation with Sharon Moore went down, that Wolverines fans are rooting like hell for Oklahoma to win this game. Because the timing of it would just be so perfect. It'd be so perfect for Michigan if Alabama were to fall in Norman tonight. You go get Kalen DeBoer. You got your head coach right before the transfer portal cycle officially gets underway, and you're good. I think this is more than a conspiracy theory. Now, Kalen DeBoer, to his credit, has done everything absolutely possible to say, I am the coach at Alabama. I expect to be the coach at Alabama next year. Whether or not he's lying through his teeth, he has done what you want a coach to do leading up to a college football playoff first-round game. So he's covered his bases. Michigan right now is hoping, and if Alabama were to lose tonight, it would be a perfect set of circumstances for Michigan if, in fact, Kalen DeBoer is their guy.
Big John from Texas on the text line says, Parker, this man doesn't have a good poker face. He's going to Michigan. Ain't nobody wants Sith Lord Sabin hanging over their shoulder every day. He gone. I don't know. I think it would be kind of cool to have Nick Saban hanging over my shoulder every single day. Of all the people that wouldn't bother me if they were hanging over my shoulder, I feel like Nick Saban wouldn't bother me. I feel like Nick Saban would be the type of guy that pushes you and inspires you to be a better version of yourself.
Yeah, and Nick Saban, and I'll tell you this, a lot of coaches cite Nick Saban in terms of, I got advice from him, I got advice for him. I mean, obviously the most recent one was Lane Kiffin. But Nick seems like he rides for his dudes. So, especially if you're his successor at Alabama, I feel like Nick is a guy who's going to be in your corner. So, I don't think he's hovering over you like, oh, you better continue the dominance of excellence that I did. Nick Saban knows ain't nobody like him. So, he's going to be over here pulling for the University of Alabama, and as a result, he's going to pull for the coach. So, no, I don't think he's hanging over anybody's shoulder, per se.
I'd love to be boys with Nick Saban.
I would, too.
He's in town, right? Because game day's in town.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Maybe I'll hit him up later. Hey, Nick, you want to be boys?
Do you have direct communication with Nick Saban?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I don't even know. Who does have direct communication with Nick Saban besides his former coaches, former colleagues in the coaching profession, and former players? Because, he's not on social media. And apparently, the story for years and years was long after the advent of the smartphone, Nick Saban was still using a flip phone.
Uh-huh.
I can't imagine he answers that flip phone every single time it rings, too.
No.
What if he has a handler, or whether that's just Miss Terry?
Probably both.
Yeah, maybe to some extent. LaDonna from Lubbock on the text line says, would be hilarious for DeBoer to go 0-3 against OU with Bama, to then go to Michigan and lose to OU as Michigan's head coach. I guess that's the first big game he would have if he wound up taking the Michigan gig, was they host Oklahoma in week 2 next year. Oh, man. Yeah, I got to imagine. Think about it. Kalen DeBoer inks that contract, puts on that maize and blue hat. Then he gets into his office, looks up at that calendar, and realizes, oh, shoot. I get to host my kryptonite.
In terms of this game, though, because the first part of that text was that DeBoer would be 0-3 against Oklahoma. When you factor that in and you're thinking about, okay, who's going to win this game, do you factor that into your calculus, Parker, of there ain't no way that Oklahoma's going to get them 3 times in 13 months, right? Does that sentiment come up in your brain?
Man, yes and no. Because, generally, I honestly, without even thinking about it, would pick the team that got beat the last time around, or in this case, the last 2 times around.
Uh-huh.
Because, especially when you're dealing with 2 programs of Alabama and Oklahoma's caliber, rarely are you going to have a circumstance where one coach and one program just has the other's number. It does kind of feel, to a certain extent, like Alabama is due to get their lick back at OU, but also the circumstances of this one are a little bit different. Alabama's on the road.
Yep.
They just got throttled by 3 touchdowns in the SEC championship game a couple weekends ago. Ty Simpson, we don't necessarily know if he's going to be 100%. We know Josh Cuevas, their outstanding tight end, is not going to be 100% and is going to be on a pitch count. And this is the first time in program history that the University of Oklahoma is hosting a playoff game. And this environment, I am going into tonight with the expectation that the environment will be the best that I have ever seen at Owen Field. And it's going to be a colossal disappointment if it doesn't live up to those expectations. There's no reason why it shouldn't live up to those expectations. And so for me, if I'm looking beyond the popular narratives, just at the context of this game, how these 2 teams match up, what Oklahoma's going to have going in their favor, working in their favor tonight, that's why I feel so good about OU, even though in most circumstances like this, I would lean in favor of the team that's got beaten twice in a row by this particular opponent.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting set of circumstances because Oklahoma is at home. That almost is, to me, there's 2 things here, especially reading the betting lines, where it flipped from Alabama plus minus 1.5 now to Oklahoma minus 1.5, and I'm going to assume that's where it's going to close. Oklahoma being at home and R. Mason Thomas being back. To me, those are the determining factors in all of this that kicks Oklahoma ahead. And you talked about the environment. I got no idea what it's going to be. All I know is it's going to be loud as hell and cold as hell. It's going to be fun. So I really, really think that the determining factor in this one might just be the fact that Oklahoma's at home today.
That could be. Here's an interesting question from the text line. 307 Sooner wants to know, Parker, are there any recruiting battles between OU and Bama affected by this evening for us sickos? Offhand, there's not one that springs to mind where OU and Alabama are actively battling for the same player, but I will say this. The quarterback that Oklahoma's targeting in the 2027 class, Jamison Roberts, he's from the state of Alabama. Now, Oklahoma's in excellent position there, has been since they offered last month. They're very much on track to get Jamison Roberts' commitment, but as a native of the state of Alabama, Grayson, that kid grew up watching Alabama and Auburn because everyone in that state does. So what kind of impression would it leave upon a kid like that? If the university that ostensibly is already in the lead for your services has made you a really strong pitch, has made you feel at home, and I'm using his words there, what would it say about that program if they went and took it to the Crimson Tide, the flagship football program of your home state, for the 3rd time in 13 months? That could push you over the edge and just convince you to shut it down and commit to the Sooners.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would prove that they can make you feel at home and they can win those big games, especially at home. So it would just be a combination of those 2, the relationship and getting it done on the field, especially against a team that you're very familiar with because of, where you are from in your native state. So I don't think this game is going to have a whole lot to do with the result of that recruitment. I do think Oklahoma is going to get that one done with Jamison Roberts, regardless of if they win or lose tonight. But it would make you a little bit more excited. And like you said, the last part is that it might convince him to go ahead and shut it down a little bit earlier than you might have thought.
And timeline matters when we're talking about quarterbacks specifically, because the earlier you can get a quarterback locked in, the earlier that quarterback can start to kind of exert his influence as a peer recruiter.
Correct.
On the rest of the class. And Oklahoma already has 11 commits before they've locked in their quarterback in the 27th cycle. So they're in good position as it is with that class. It doesn't really feel like Oklahoma's hurting for a quarterback right this second to really catalyze their recruiting efforts in 2027. But the sooner you get Jamison Roberts on board, the sooner you have that centerpiece. And that's a guy whose stock is probably going to rise substantially over the next few months as his junior tape starts to get around. We talked about it earlier in the week. He had 58 total touchdowns this season at Saraland High School in his first season as a starter. 58 total touchdowns, 5 interceptions, state runner-up in Alabama, lost the state title game to Clay Chalkville, which is an absolute machine of a high school football program down there in Dixie. And so if Oklahoma beats Alabama tonight and beats Bama handily, perhaps. I don't think that's going to happen, but shoot, if anybody runs away in this football game, I think it's going to be Oklahoma. If Oklahoma can win and perhaps even win handily, then immediately I think that accelerates things with Jamison Roberts.
I know we got to get a break here soon, and maybe we can carry this into the next segment. You think Oklahoma could run away with this game?
I think I'll go back to exactly what I said just a second ago. If there is a team that runs away, I think that team will be Oklahoma. That said, I think it's going to be a four-quarter football game, in my opinion.
I disagree with that.
Ooh. Devil's advocate here.
No, I don't think it's the devil's advocate. I think it's going based off totality of what these two teams have put on the field this year. Because to run away from somebody, that's going to imply that at least in a game like this, Oklahoma's going to score, 27 points. I don't believe that's going to be the case at all. Like, I don't think, and this was my thought when we were going through the Missouri game and going through the LSU game, right, Parker? People were saying, well, Oklahoma might blow these teams out. No, they're not. They don't have the offensive firepower to blow anybody out. Remember this, too. And this is not me saying that I think Oklahoma's going to lose this game, because I think Oklahoma's going to win it. But if there's going to be a team that blows the other out, it's going to be the team that can consistently move the ball down the field. And at least in the last matchup that these two teams played, that team that moved the ball consistently down the field was Alabama. Now, Oklahoma could get an interception return touchdown that makes it look obviously like one stat doesn't matter, which ended up being the total yardage. But in terms of, do I think Oklahoma can consistently move the ball down the field and score and run away like that? No, I do not. So I do think Oklahoma's going to win this game, but it will be close. They will not blow Alabama out.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. And like I said, I agree. I think it's going to be a close game. My counterpoint to that would be the game that these two teams played in November of 2024 here in Norman. Because Oklahoma blew Alabama out in that game. But they had a defensive touchdown. Jackson Arnold only threw 11 passes in that football game.
Mm-hmm.
And Oklahoma didn't score a single point for the last 25 minutes of football. So,
right.
Running away from a team like Alabama doesn't necessarily mean scoring 30, 40 points. It just means, hey, man, like establishing the upper hand early and continuing to build that margin gradually, which I think, like, if you're talking about a slow burn type of football game like that, Oklahoma's capable of it.
I love how everybody on the text line just is just deciding to say where I went to college instead of actually attacking my argument. Anyway, but let me say this though. You're right that last year's was running away. Absolutely, the 24-3. But do you think that Alabama will be held to 3 points? Though, that's why I think this is something like a 19-16, 19-13, 16-13 type of Oklahoma win. It won't be 20 points because I don't believe that you're going to hold Alabama to 3 or 6 points. But I also don't believe Oklahoma's going to score 27. It would be a 6-point win, something along the lines of literally what we saw in Tuscaloosa a month ago. That's what it would be.
Questions, comments, tasteful shade directed at Grayson. 405-651-3439 is the text line, and that's where you can submit all of it. Much more ahead here on Locked In as we continue to count you down to OU and Alabama tonight at Owen Field. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
After a car crash, life can be hard. You're hurt, stressed, and then, when you need help the most, the insurance company doesn't care.
They drag their feet, question your injuries, and make things difficult. They put profits over people.
At McIntyre Law, we level the playing field. We take on the billion-dollar insurance companies so you can focus on what matters, getting your life back. Call us at 405-777-7000. You deserve better.
Where do Oklahoma sports fans go to watch the big game? Gridiron Sports Bar at River Spirit Casino Resort in Tulsa. With multiple viewing screens and a huge LED wall, you'll never miss a play. Enjoy bar top gaming, top golf swing suites, delicious game day food and drinks, and a VIP lounge for top-tier players. Gridiron Sports Bar takes sports fans to another viewing level. Gridiron Sports Bar, Tulsa's fan favorite.
Spread some joy this holiday season with the Hal Smith gift card. One card, 14 restaurants. Giving the perfect gift has never been easier.
Hey Sooner fans, it's playoff time and Balfour of Norman is your headquarters for game day gear. Whether you're getting ready for the big home matchup or searching for the perfect holiday gift, Balfour has you covered. Check out the latest Jordan Playoff Mode collection, plus the must-have hard-to-kill shirts and sweatshirts all in stock now. Plus, gifts for every fan from stocking stuffers to top-tier gifts and gift cards for those hard-to-shop-for Sooners. Visit Balfour of Norman and show your Crimson pride. Gear up, get loud, and go Sooners. CrimsonProud.com. Holiday season is right around the corner, and you know what that means. Holiday parties. From small events to big buyouts, Heyday Entertainment has the perfect party package for you. Book a bowling party or a play party at Heyday Norman, or shake things up with a pickleball bash at Hey Pickle Pickle, right off of I-35 and Indian Hills Road. Skip the stress and slay the holidays when you party with Heyday. Call 405-310-3500 to book your event today or visit heydayfun.com. Heyday, where you choose your fun.
Hey guys, this is Lisa Talley, owner and broker of 828 Real Estate. 828 Real Estate is your premier full-service commercial and residential real estate brokerage and property management firm. With our team of real estate agents and specialized property management team, 828 is here for you in every capacity. Whether a seller or buyer, an investor or renter, please explore our website at 828re.com. 828 Real Estate, service with purpose. 405-701-8881. Call us today.
At Armstrong Bank, your business isn't just business to us, it's personal. Our bankers are invested in your success, and we're ready to build a relationship that lasts. You deserve a strong financial partner by your side. Together, we can help make your business even stronger with products and services designed for your convenience. To learn more, visit a location near you or visit armstrong.bank. Armstrong Bank. Strength runs in our family. Member FDIC.
Season's greetings from all of us at Cavens Group. Hi, this is Reese. As the holidays approach, we want to thank our Oklahoma neighbors for trusting us with your home and businesses throughout the year. Whether you're spending time with loved ones or traveling, know that Cavens Group is here 24/7 for any emergency, so you can focus on what matters most. Warm wishes for a safe, joyful holiday season. Call Cavens Group at 405-573-3048 or visit cavensgroup.com. Cavens Group, here for you every season.
F5 IPA by Coop Ale Works doesn't just hit, it touches down. Brace yourself for a hop-reckoning punch that'll blow your taste buds away. An iconic original that takes the proud title of Oklahoma's #1 selling IPA. Be sure to raise an F5 on game day.
Locked In continues on the Ref, just a few hours away from OU Bama, the game that could either mark the unfortunate end of Oklahoma's magical 2025 season, or, in a much more hopeful outcome, catapult Oklahoma back to the Rose Bowl, where a matchup with number 1 Indiana would await on New Year's Day. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line as we get you ready for this game. That's how you can chime in, as many of y'all here have already done. Man, Grayson, text line's coming after you.
I've never, you know what's funny, Parker? I've never seen people so mad when you pick their team to win. Isn't that quite an interesting development, huh?
Listen, you got to be careful with college football crazies, man.
Oh, I'm aware.
Oh, you got to be careful.
I'm aware.
Now, I will say, the text line is coming after you for multiple things. One, being an Oklahoma State grad, which, that's just standard practice for the text line.
Yeah.
It just comes with the territory. But also, you said it was going to be cold as hell tonight. Fortunately, it does appear we're actually going to be north of 50 degrees at kickoff, which is miraculous because, trust me, I have covered games that would qualify as cold as hell at Owen Field in the past. Bedlam 2022 comes to mind.
Yep.
Brutally cold that night. I think it was maybe 10, 15 degrees, windy as all get out. But we should have a pretty clear night in Norman, America. 51 degrees is what is expected at kickoff, and, it's already going to be 7 p.m. and dark, so it probably shouldn't get that much cooler throughout the evening.
True. By the way, do you want to know what the real feel is expected to be, though?
Oh, gosh, what's the real feel?
37 at kickoff.
Man, I was having such a good time.
That's why I came up. No, you're right. 40s and 50? No, that's not cold as hell. Under 40? To me, yes, that is.
Real fit. Well, I bought hand warmers for the occasion.
Yeah,
so
I've got hand warmers and gloves
those.
And everything. Hey, by the way, on the YouTube chat, which, by the way, we are on YouTube, just search KREF Sports, this comment came in. It is far more palatable to hear that reasonable argument from someone who actually cares for this team versus someone who contributes only to collect a paycheck and nothing more, which is a wild thing to say.
Oh, man. Hey, you know what, though?
Appreciate the interaction, though.
You know what, though? Intellectual honesty is the best quality you can have in this business. I will stand by that, and folks, Mr. Singleton here is nothing if not intellectually honest, which is respectable. Anonymous Sooner says, people won't notice the temps. They'll be plenty lubricated. LOL.
Yeah, I won't because I get off work at 6 o'clock.
You got a little time.
Well, I'm walking to the stadium, so I have a 20-ish minute walk to the stadium, so.
Hang on. You're walking to the stadium from the station?
No, not from the station, from where I live.
Okay.
No, from where I live.
I was about to say.
No.
Hello.
Yeah, no, from where I live. So
that's a hike and a half.
No, it'll be about, because I live around Lindsay, so it won't take me that long, but about 20 minutes. So I will not be walking around getting lubricated. That will have to be done once I get into the stadium.
Hey, do you have that Dari clip queued up by chance?
Yeah, is it the one where what he said on a podcast yesterday?
Yes, okay, that one.
Yes, I do have it.
I wanted to play this one because I think, and we can finalize this, we can make this official. If Oklahoma wins the football game tonight and goes where Lincoln Riley never went before, at least at OU, and wins a college football playoff game. But, man, it looks more and more with every month that passes as though OU won the breakup with Lincoln Riley. And Dari Noka, our own Dari Noka, was asked about that earlier this week. Here's what he had to say about it.
Has Oklahoma already won the Lincoln Riley breakup?
Oh, 100%. Yes. Yeah. No, first team to get to the playoff, between the two since Riley's departure. There's an incredible feeling of optimism around the Oklahoma program that hasn't been felt probably since Lincoln's teams, honestly. Everybody's satisfied. Actually not satisfied, frankly, loves Brent Venables for who he is on the field and off. I think Brent Venables has learned, even has taken massive strides as a coach this year. He's beloved in the state. People feel that he is loyal to the program. He's a great leader. He'll get out and in the community. He's great on coaches shows. He's very friendly with everybody around him. He doesn't seem like he's kind of just hiding in his office all the time. Yes, I think Oklahoma has frankly kicked USC's ass on the Lincoln Riley situation.
Hoorah! Let's go! Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Super.
Now, there were a few steely flourishes on the end of that soundbite, obviously, if you couldn't tell. But, man, this really does feel like a reasonable juncture to start adjudicating who won the divorce, because we are 4 years out. And what benchmark does that provide? Well, 4 years out, obviously, you're pretty much, for all intents and purposes, completely removed from any of the players that would have played at either institution before the new head coach arrived. So I don't know the exact roster situation at USC. I don't know if there are any players still left on that roster that would have played under Clay Helton. But for Oklahoma, 2025 is the first season, Grayson, in which the Sooners are no longer rostering a scholarship player that ever played a down under Lincoln Riley. 2025 is thus the first year where you can genuinely say they are fully unburdened by what has been, as it were. And here we are in 2025. Oklahoma's in the college football playoff. USC had a decent season. They went 9-3 in the Big Ten, won a couple more games than most would have expected them to. But especially when you just look at the general vibes surrounding the program and the perception of how sustainable what each of those athletic departments has cultivated for their football program and what has been cultivated within those two football programs, it's not hard to look at the future at Oklahoma versus the future at USC and conclude, feels like Oklahoma's in a much better position, not only to contend for a championship here in 2025, obviously that's what they're doing, but in the long run to continue contending for championships years down the road as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's no argument that, well, there is one argument that this might be an incomplete, but to me, it's pretty clear, cut and dry, that Oklahoma has gotten the better end of the separation between the two. And that's not to say Lincoln Riley hasn't coached good football, because USC was a good football team this year. I mean, I know some people won't admit it, but USC was a good football team this year. But Oklahoma, in terms of the race to get back to the national prominence that you expect, Brent Venables was the one that got there first before Lincoln did. So, no, Brent Venables has done an exceptional job given the time that he had to turn this thing around. I mean, when Lincoln left, obviously you had transfers, recruiting took a hit, everything took a hit, took the hit that you would think it would when a coach decides to leave in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. So you have to give a guy time to sort of turn that around. And given the requisite time, Brent Venables has done exactly what he has needed to do. He's won big games. He's won games that you can ascribe to him and him alone, including the win this year over the team that they're going to play tonight. So, no, Oklahoma is in a much, much better position than USC is right now, if we're comparing it to those two.
Sooner Gary on the text line reporting that the ref isn't working in Sallisaw. Are you on the app, Sooner Gary? We'll try to get you squared away. He said, I need my fix. Yeah, you do. We're getting closer and closer to kickoff. We got to make sure you're taken care of. So let us know what specific issues you're dealing with, Sooner Gary. But, yeah, man, like to me, Grayson, the big thing is when I look at where Oklahoma has been able to go in 2025, and I think about where they're capable of going in 2026. Mm-hmm. 2027, it's hard to really get a sense of what that's going to look like. It's hard to project more than a year out, just in general, because of how much turnover there is on pretty much every single college football roster these days, year over year. But as we look ahead to 2026, and as I mentioned before, the Sooners are ready, willing, and able to invest major NIL coin into a couple of big-time transfer portal additions at important positions. I don't see any reason why the expectation heading into 2026 should be that Oklahoma isn't right back in the college football playoff field. Think about the guys that are going to return on this football team, or that we expect to return. Taylor Wine, Jaden Jackson, David Stone, Kip Lewis, the Bowen brothers. Flip over the offense. Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock coming back in the backfield. John Mateers, it's going to be year 2 in the system for him at Oklahoma, year 4 in the system overall. I think there's a pretty good chance Isaiah Satania returns. That offensive line is mostly right now comprised of young guys that are only going to get better and more seasoned and more polished as time passes. And so, look, I don't necessarily want to – I don't want to get too deep in the weeds talking about next season when Oklahoma is still playing for something meaningful here in 2025 by any means. But especially pertinent to the OU Lincoln Riley divorce conversation, I think it's pretty objective at this point. I think anybody on either side of the divide or that can look at it neutrally would say Oklahoma is much better off for having hired Brent Venables than USC is for having hired Lincoln Riley.
You know, another side of this conversation is I know it's natural to compare Lincoln Riley at USC to Oklahoma right now under Brent Venables. Why don't we compare Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley to Oklahoma with Brent Venables? Because I do think they've been in similar places. And, you know, in the Lincoln Riley era, remember, you got to the college football playoff a couple of times in a 4-team playoff, which means you were a semifinalist for the national championship, not just playing in a first round. Now, obviously, that's not to take away anything from what Brent Venables has done. That's not what I mean. That's not what I'm saying here. But what do you think could get you closer to a national championship? I'm very curious because the two teams that have made the playoff, one under Lincoln, one under Brent, is their complete antithesis of each other. One, high offense, not a whole lot of defense, not a whole lot of offense that we've seen yet, but a really good defense. One's gotten you to the semis, one we shall see. So to me, I like the comparison better of Lincoln Riley OU versus Brent OU.
Mm-hmm. And obviously we'll have to wait for more empirical evidence depending on how long Oklahoma's stay in the CFP field lasts. But it is my strong feeling, Grayson, that this Oklahoma team in 2025 is closer to a championship than any of Lincoln Riley's teams, save for his first one in 2017.
Okay.
That was obviously the last time they went to the Rose Bowl, lost 54-48 in double overtime to Georgia in one of the greatest college football games of the 21st century. That it very much felt like, and I think you would be hard-pressed to find an Oklahoma fan that would not adamantly proclaim this. If Oklahoma had been able to forge past Georgia in that football game, that felt like a team that was going to go win the national championship.
I would agree
against
with that.
Alabama.
Yes.
So that Oklahoma team in 2017 was undeniably championship caliber. Now, that was a lot more of an offense-heavy football team. They did not have a whole lot going for them defensively, and that was ultimately their undoing. But Lincoln Riley's next 4 teams at the University of Oklahoma all had major flaws. Major flaws. And they were not on that level. Like the Kyler Murray Oklahoma team, it was fun because Kyler was fun. That was not a team that could win a national championship. The Jalen Hurts team, man, that was fun because Jalen was fun. But it was not a national championship caliber football team. In 2020 and 2021, Oklahoma went 9-2 and 11-2, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
That's about what they deserved. They were a 9-2 team in 2020. They were an 11-2 team in 2021. Like, that was the epitome of Bill Parcells' old mantra, you are what your record says you are. Like, they were close, but not quite there yet, which was kind of the theme of the whole Lincoln Riley tenure at Oklahoma. But I'm so excited to see what this team is able to do tonight and hopefully moving forward in this CFP field, because this does just feels different than Oklahoma's past CFP programs under Riley, or I should say Oklahoma's past CFP teams under Riley. Where this program is at in 2025 is a far cry from where they were when he departed. 405-651-3439 is the text line. We have one final segment with you here on Locked In. Before we turn it over to, who are we turning it over to at 3? Is it the Rush as usual?
Nope, it's Toby and Teddy. Toby,
okay.
Teddy, and Plank.
Okay. Toby and Teddy coming up at 3 p.m. We got you until then, folks. Keep it here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Dusty Dvorak here. You're listening to The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Wrap up your year with good times and great rewards. Because Riverwind is OKC's best casino.
Feel the thunder when you play your best hand yet. Catch your favorite entertainment at the Showplace Theater.
And enjoy the gift that keeps on giving when you use your wild card.
Every Friday in December, join us for your share of our $80,000 Winter Wishes giveaway.
Make your season brighter at your favorite place to play.
And happy holidays from Riverwind Casino.
With OG&E's Energy Efficiency Program, we'll provide the blueprint for lowering your bill and increasing your comfort. Whether it's tuning heat and air units, caulking and weather stripping drafty doors and windows, insulating your attic, or connecting you with valuable rebates, you'll improve efficiency and save money with no out-of-pocket costs. Learn more at oge.com/efficiency. At OG&E, we energize life.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
Meet Janiking, the unrivaled team of cleaning champions. We're here to elevate your business to sparkling perfection. From Oklahoma Memorial Stadium to businesses nationwide, Janiking delivers spotless environments. Proud partner of OU football and OU athletics. As we cheer on the Sooners, Janiking brings the same dedication to every cleaning task. For commercial cleaning services beyond compare, visit Janiking.com today. That's JANIKING.com. Janiking, the king of clean. And go Sooners.
Landmark Fine Homes is a custom home builder in Oklahoma City. Our commitment is to build energy-efficient, custom-quality crafted homes around the metro OKC area. If you're looking to build your first home or last, Landmark Fine Homes is the builder for you. We have many floor plans to choose from, or bring us one that you already have. We have communities throughout the metro, or we will build on your lot. Call 405-347-5991 and let Landmark Fine Homes help turn your dreams into a reality.
Whether you're celebrating a special occasion, desire a great postgame, or after-work dining experience, the Ranch Steakhouse is the winning choice. At Ranch Steakhouse, we're grilling up the best USDA prime steaks in Oklahoma. Juicy, flavorful, and cooked to perfection. Pair that with an unbeatable atmosphere, a killer drink selection, and a wine list of over 400 personally curated bottles. Whether you're toasting the game or winding down after a big day, Ranch Steakhouse is where champions eat.
Final segment of Locked In here on the Ref. Toby and Teddy coming up at the top of the hour as we continue to get you ready for number 8 Oklahoma facing off with number 9 Alabama in the first round of the college football playoff. Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton here with you, wrapping it up on a Friday. The Waffler on the text line, 405-651-3439, says, I got a question you haven't talked about. If we win, are we going to storm the field? Waffler, no. No, you do not storm the field after winning a college football playoff game. You storm the field after an enormous upset win. You storm the field when you're Oklahoma and you're 5 and 5 at the time? When you're 5-5 and Alabama's a top 10 team in the country and you just decimate them on your home field and win 24-3, it is acceptable to storm the field.
I'm glad you've come around to that.
When you are in the college football playoff, you act like you've been there before. And really, Grayson, I brought this up earlier in the show, that's how the team's treating this. They're treating this, per everything I've heard and been told from within, as if they've been here before. You would think, if you spent any time around the team this week, that they'd been in a situation, in a moment like this before. And obviously they haven't. It's Oklahoma's first trip to the college football playoff since 2019. The last time they played in a New Year's Six Bowl was 2020. The last time they played in a conference championship game was 2020. And so nobody on this team has ever performed in a moment like this, at least not at the University of Oklahoma. And yet, they're acting like they've been there before. And the entirety of Sooner Nation ought to act like they've been there before. Now, as I said at the top of the show, the environment has got to be absolutely electric. There's no excuse for it not to be the loudest game of the year 2025. And the loudest game in a long, long time here. Now, I was not around for Jump Around in 2008. I did not yet live in the state of Oklahoma. I did not experience that. That sounded like, and from firsthand accounts, that was a pretty ridiculous environment that night. But I will say, somebody is sound checking on the other end of the line. Is that going over the air, Grayson?
Nope.
Okay, good. Just making sure. I can hear somebody sound checking at what I assume is Boyd Street Ventures or one of our on location setups for today. But no, that aside, this has got to be an incredible environment tonight. I expect that it will be. It's nice that the weather isn't going to suck too badly, but you don't storm the field if you win this game. You're ranked number 8. Alabama's ranked number 9. It's going to be an awesome victory if Oklahoma can pull it off. It's going to be a hugely meaningful victory for Brent Venables and his staff and this program as a whole. But no, you do not storm the field.
No. I am glad, though, that you've come around to the field storming last year being appropriate. And it was. Given the context of the season, who you beat, and whatnot, that was appropriate. But tonight, no. No, not storming the field tonight.
Yeah, 405 listener says, can JMU or Tulane storm the field? Yes, you can. Tulane and James Madison are permitted to storm the field if they win, which, by the way, I'm pulling for Tulane, man. I'm pulling for Tulane because we just found out earlier this morning, I guess John Sumrall lost his father last night, which 2 days before a college football playoff game, man, to lose your father, I mean, I can't imagine how he's feeling right now. Just the tug of war from within that's happening with regard to his personal life and memorializing his father and all of the arrangements that you have to make when you lose a loved one, and also having to deal with the biggest game he's ever coached in on Saturday. And so, man, I'm going to be keeping John Sumrall in my prayers. I hope for his sake Tulane can come out and give Ole Miss a fight at the very least. I don't know if they have the firepower. I don't know if they have the personnel to win that football game. But knowing what John Sumrall's dealing with right now, I'll be pulling for the Green Wave this weekend.
Sure. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And then Darian and I ran the story of him giving back the money to help Tulane continue to recruit. Did you see that story earlier in the week?
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah, he gave Tulane some money back to help them continue to recruit and get players. So, no, really cool gesture by him. I do hope that they put a good showing out there in Oxford this weekend. Sooner 307 says the field storming last year was embarrassing.
Oh, come on.
Bruh, are you against fun? Come on now.
And it was one of those instances where, you know, if all went according to plan and the 2024 season was an aberration, you're never going to experience anything like that again in Norman for another generation to come. Like the last time it had happened was against Nebraska in 2000. It had been 24 years. There were plenty of people in that building who had never been alive, let alone present for a field storming at Owen Field. So that was a cool one-time deal. Apparently, there was another listener that reported they took a verbal vote last night at the Oklahoma Breakdown live podcast at Riverwind about storming the field if Oklahoma wins. According to that listener, Pastor Andy from BA, he says, it was instant and overwhelming. Not who we are.
Here's the thing, though. To go back to the crux of that text from 307 Sooner. Who was it embarrassing to? Like, nobody. And to me, this is a case of, sometimes how people can take themselves too seriously. You know what was going on around the country? People playing that clip and drone shots of that clip. And everybody saying, man, this is dope. Like, nobody clowned Oklahoma for that. Nobody should have clowned. It was a really good marketing moment. It was a really good PR moment. It was a really good vibes moment for everybody. It was literally embarrassing to nobody. So that's why I asked the question, who is actually embarrassed? Because the college football world displayed you everywhere after that happened.
Chris from Knoxville on the text line says, when you look at the playoff bracket, and I hadn't thought about this. This is a really good point. Oklahoma can redeem every heartbreaking / gut punch playoff loss and the 2005 and 2009 national championships. Our route, if we win tonight, Rose Bowl, Peach Bowl, Natty in Miami. Man, that's 1,000% true because 2005 it was the Rose Bowl. 2009, the national championship game was in Miami. 2015, they lost the Orange Bowl. 2017, they lost the Rose Bowl. 18, they lost the Orange Bowl again, and 19, they lost the Peach Bowl. So, yes, not to put the cart before the horse, but if Oklahoma can win tonight, what an epic and redemptive run it could be for this team as they move forward. And again, Grayson, as I said, I like the way this team would match up against Indiana if they can forge past Alabama tonight. But in this moment, on this day, it's about beating the Crimson Tide for the third time in 13 months. So we got 3 minutes left, man.
Yep.
What are your closing thoughts on this game? Final insights you want to offer? How do you think it goes down tonight between these two teams?
You got to stay ahead of the chains. You have got to stay ahead of the chains because I don't think that if you're in obvious pass situations, third down and long, that you're going to be able to drive the length of the field. And I do believe that Oklahoma is going to have to put together 30-plus yard, 35-plus yard drives to be able to win this. I will say this, though. Here's why I think Oklahoma is going to win the game. Because in the latter parts of the season, the defense has given the offense at least one short field, and they can usually turn that into points. I think that one time – I don't think Oklahoma's going to turn Alabama over 3 times again. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that one time, those points could be the difference in the game, and that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go Oklahoma. It's a pick-em game for me, a real toss-up, but I'm going to go Oklahoma 19-16 in this one. I think this is going to be a rock fight. I think it's going to be a hideous game, and I think it's going to end up in a pretty hideous-looking score, like 19-16, something along those lines.
Yeah, and just to be clear here, what we've determined is that part of the winning recipe for Oklahoma throughout the Red November run is that I pick against OU on this show, so my prediction is Alabama wins 48-17. But that aside, Grayson, what do you feel like you need to see from John Mateer tonight in order for the Sooners to be in position to cap it off with a victory at the end of the evening?
I'm so glad you brought this up because tonight I think we're going to see, is it possible to win a game when your quarterback is in don't screw it up mode? Because I think for this year alone, John Mateer being the captain of this ship, I think has sailed. So he's going to have to be a guy that just doesn't mess it up. And we're going to find out, can you really advance deep into the playoffs and possibly win a national championship with that recipe in 2025? You could do it in 2016. You could do it back in the 2010s decade. Can that still work in 2025? If they come out of here winning in the way that I think they will, the answer to that question trends toward it is a possibility.
To me, John Mateer, and maybe this sounds overly simplistic, that's fine. Maybe this doesn't sound like it's going to be enough, that's fine. In my opinion, all John Mateer has to do is exactly what he did the last time these two teams played. Don't turn the ball over. And for me, the X factor is the guy that hasn't touched the field since November 1st. It's our Mason Thomas. As Brent Venables and other members of this coaching staff have referenced in the past, our Mason Thomas is a guy that could have left for more money. He could have walked away from Oklahoma. He could have hit the transfer portal. He produced well enough over the last couple of seasons that there was a market for his services, and he stayed loyal to the Sooners. He stayed loyal to Miguel Chavis. He stayed loyal to this staff. And, man, he gets the chance tonight to put on the uniform for the last time in front of 84,000 strong at Owen Field. I trust that he's going to be a disruptor. He's going to be a difference maker. And he will be a big piece of the reason why Oklahoma – oh, wait, I'm not allowed to pick him to win. He'll be a big piece of the reason why I think Oklahoma is going to do very well tonight in this football game. I'll just phrase it like that. All right, folks, we'll soon find out whether Oklahoma is going to be headed to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. Toby and Ted, next here on The Ref.